without any further ado, let's start today's training. Today's training is about new features which Monday.com released recently. The first one we are seeing is group by. I'm going to toggle between the screens now. I'm going to my Monday.com screen. Okay. So this is one of the board. I used it for my last webinar. It's just a project board from the template. So the first feature, as we saw, is group by. So now you'll see here, the group by is added here. And what is this? Basically, what it does is, as soon as you click here, let me just do that. Yeah, so as I hover over there, it also shows me group items by column. It's that simple. I really like Monday.com because of its user friendliness, how efficiently, as soon as you hover over that, it tells you. So it actually, you don't have to actually go and attend Monday.com. If you try, and if you play with the board, you are learning actually on your own, actually, because of the user friendliness. So as the name suggests, group items by column. So definitely, if I click here, definitely there is a column drop down. So here also you'll see a little bit description where group tasks together based on one column of your choosing. So now let's say so right now, as you know, this is the board. And of course, all of you by now know what is group, right? So right now I created this board and I already have these groups, which is planning, execution, launch. Yeah. But now I want to see my data differently, because sometimes you may want to see the data with respect to due date, right? But then if you want to do that, you just have to like glance through and see it in a tabular format. But then what this feature, which Monday.com released recently, does, and I will show you in a second. So the moment I chose due date, my entire board is now, see, the look and feel is already changed by due date. So now you see the due date is it's today. So basically now my groups, as the name suggests, now my groups are actually based on these due date. So today, tomorrow, next week, last week, right? But then your main table is not changed. This is just a view which we have added, and all of you know you can always save the view. So there is an ability to save this view also. So maybe I can save it by due date, right? So, and this is not necessary. You don't have to save it. But let's say let's say you want, so directly you are on main table, but then you want to see, because you created a tab, it's always easier, but you don't have to save it. You can just leave it as it is also. So let me delete this. I'm just deleting the view. Okay. So going back again, as I mentioned, you don't have to save that view, but if you want to just see that today a board by this group by due date, you don't have to save it, because you are just using this as a sorting, right? And then if you leave it as it is, if you didn't save it, and if you refresh your board, it's gonna disappear. Okay, so if you want to save that view, please go ahead and save that button, or click on that save button. But if not, if you want to just see, so sometimes I want to see my data by due date, or sometimes as a manager, project manager, I just want to see by statuses. So now you see how many are done, how many are working, or how many are blank, right? So there are different, so you can see all the columns here. So you see priority. So now you see, so my source of truth remains same. There's no changes in that. I'm just clicking this, and my data is, the table format is changing. So now you see my medium and low priority tasks are here. Okay, so this is so cool feature because you can see your data, and that's what monday.com does. Yeah, slice and dice your data differently. It's all about data and how you see it, right? When depending on your requirement or depending on what reports you are building, right? So that's that. Now going back to my presentation screen. Now next feature is work form submission viewer. Let's go back. I have a board which I used again, one of the webinar, which is event feedback. And this is about form. So of course, this is a form. The board is viewed as a form. This is, I think last time we built this form in one of my webinar. So the feature which monday.com introduced is submission viewer, meaning, so you see there is submission viewer already, but assume that it's not there. Just gonna add. So how you add this is from here. So more views, you go into more views and you go into, either you can just mention submission viewer if you know the app, or else you can also go into apps by Monday and then submission viewer comes. So if you don't know the app name, so just type form because it's related to form. And then I just clicked on apps by Monday. So all these three widgets which are related to form came up. And now I'm interested in this one. So I'm just clicking here. So assume that this was not there, but I showed you how to add that. Okay, so submission viewer. So basically, what it does is, on your table, there are, so this is actually this response which we have it on the table. So you can see there is my name, then some other name, like a raw data. So everything I'm able to see it here. I'm able to export it, save as a PDF, save as an image, right? So so I'll tell you exact why this came into the picture, because let's say you want to save this form, right? There was no way that the form was saved like a vertically, right? So because the form, as soon as somebody submits this form, the responses come in the tabular format, so table format, right? But then there was some requirement, and of course, like other form platform, right, like other platforms which are form based platforms, right? So they have this, like you can actually see the responses in the vertical format. And then if sometimes there is a requirement that you want to save it as a PDF or image or things like that. So then Monday came up with this. So now if you see, you can see one form at a time. So now you are seeing this, right? 2 of 7. So 3, this is the third response, fourth response, and so on. Okay, so that was form submission viewer, which is great again. So now our next feature is additional layer of folders. Believe me, when they released this feature last week, literally all my clients, they like pinged me and said, hey, finally it's here, kind of thing. So because we are so used to the laptops and the folder structures, right? So initially Monday had just one layer of folder, and then again, how Monday works, right? End users like you, they request monday.com that, hey, we have the requirement of this feature. And monday.com is, and I always say that monday.com is so good in tracking these requests, because right now, if you are seeing this monday.com product is a result of end users like you and me, partners like us. We have requested so many things because they have this request, submit an idea page, which somebody actually sits there They segregate all the ideas, feature requests, and then they say how many people have actually voted, and according to that, they give it to the technical team to work on that. And this was the most required feature. Initially, they added just one folder, right? And then, but then as soon as they added one folder, then there was a requirement that, hey, we wanted folder inside folder. Can we have that? Because this place over here, so now you can see we started this new features back like last year somewhere, and now I have this separate workspace for only for these webinars. So now you can see there are so many boards and so many raw data. I used it for webinar. But then if you have more boards and the different use cases, it becomes so unorganized, right? So this folder inside folder made my life easier. So now so this is a new folder. Now I can create a folder inside. So so this was back, I think 1.5 years ago, they introduced folder inside the folder. But last week, I think they introduced one more layer. So basically now there is 3-level hierarchy. Isn't it great? And then when they said that we've introduced one more level into hierarchy, of course, as usual, as my curiosity, I just went in, is there any create like 4th line? Then no, only 3. But I think that's enough. So 1 layer, 2 layer, and 3 layer. So now we have 3. So meaning, let's say you have verticals here, and then you have some departments, and then you have some teams. You can organize your boards in such a way. So thank you so much, Monday.com, for listening to us and releasing this feature. Okay, so the next one we have is, this is interesting, extract information with Monday AI. And when I tried this feature, I was so thrilled and I was so excited. I get to use this AI feature for my clients. So let's see what it is. Okay. So going back, extract information with Monday AI. So I have this project board here. Okay, let me take the example of another board. Okay, let me take this blank board into consideration. Okay, so the feature is extract information with AI. So basically, there is a column. I just have to search AI. So these are all AI columns. This one, they introduced it recently. So I'm just gonna click here, extract information. And then when you do that, it actually asks you what is your source. So for example, let's say my source is item name. And now choose the information, what information you want to extract. So for now, I'm just selecting this first name. Okay, and I may have to do some changes in the raw data here, but let's do that first. Okay. Now I have added this, and now I'm going to rename this as a first name. Okay. Now again, I'm going to add another extract column. I can also do AI and then go to those columns, or because these are AI powered, or if I know the column name, I can just add from here. Now again, it's asking me what's the source name. This time it also gave me the first name. Again, the source is item name, and this time I want last name. Okay. So now let me rename this as last name. Okay. Okay, and now I'm gonna set my data right because I want, so let's delete this. Okay. So we just set the board for the demo to show you. So assume that there is a board, and I think there's let's say there's a form, and then via form we have this information coming in. People are submitting their name as first name and last name, but for some reason they are submitting it by first name last name, but I want to segregate it, right? So then now I have these AI columns, first name last name. My source uh, is item name. I already, when I'm setting my AI column, I already told what is my first name, last name. And now you will see the moment I enter, the moment I create this item, you'll see the magic. Isn't it great? And this is done by AI, by the way. How amazing, right? So response is they are just submitting the first name, last name, but because we have added these AI columns, you can use these data to basically break the string into two, right, in the background, but that is done in the background. So here we have first name, last name. So I just gave the example. This extract information can be anything. If you have a PDF column and if you give this as a source, it will actually give you the summary or content of that PDF column too. So it's really great with this column to have that summary with the help of AI. And last but not the least is favorite revamp. So I'm going to go here. So as you know, so this was Monday made it a little bit better. So now favorite has a section on this particular left hand pane, and then you can see which are my favorite boards. I don't have any, but which are so all the favorite board will appear here. So which is nice because then I no longer have to search my board. I just click here and then I can see all my boards.